Hello and welcome to another episode of the Arseholics. Thank you as always for tuning in. I'm Mize. If you're watching on YouTube, as always, please smash the thumbs up button. We really appreciate the support, and share the podcast, share our channel with any other Arsenal fans that you think would be interested in listening to us. So boys, Raj, Aaron and Nero, how's it going?
Good.
Come on.
Very good.
Get in.
I was expecting a bit more.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
Our season isn't over.
I tweeted earlier today, basically saying that, on reflection, pretty much every season I can remember, we've always had something to play for in the closing stages, whether it's kind of top four or FA Cup or whatever. And it just felt like if we had gone out today, it would have been the first time that I can remember that we've just had a write-off month or so of nothing. So it's all about DNA, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank God. I'm just so glad we made it boring and completely shut that game down, because I think all of us we were fully mentally prepared for like the biggest, most nerve-wracking night of our lives, and it was just so chill.
Yeah,
I think all of us were saying we were quite anxious and nervous early in the game. And then when that was it, the lack of penalty shot, Miles, you called it in the group and then no one responded. And you were like, is anyone still watching this game?
The second half, yeah.
We all switched off.
Yeah. So obviously, it was a comfortable win in the end. Arsenal are now through to the Europa League semi-finals, winning 4-0 on the night tonight, 5-1 on aggregate. Yeah, like you guys said, came into this one expecting a bit of a tougher test, really, based on the first leg. But I guess over the two legs, we were obviously the much better team, and we were able to put those chances away this time around, compared to the game at the Emirates. I mean, just we'll talk about the game then, really, and the goals specifically. It was a blitz of a first half, wasn't it? Well, we got 3 goals in a short space of time. Just before the first goal we scored, obviously there was the disallowed one from Smith Rowe, bit of a dodgy one, really. Couldn't really tell because they don't really show many replays on it, but it looked quite tight. But it was, again, good. It was good work from Saka, a really good shot, palmed onto the post, and Smith Rowe tapped it in, but it was disallowed. And then we kind of went on, didn't we? Or we carried on from that point. Really impressive. Nicolas Pepe getting the first, looked like he was going to go down, I think, but he stayed on his feet and finished really well.
Yeah, I think what was really impressive about the goal, I think two fundamentally impressive things. One was ESR's persistence, which was quality. He was in a really tight area. He kind of lost the ball, but kept going and managed to sort of just hang in there and create that chance. It was a really great, deft little pass. But what I was most impressed with, if you watch how Pepe took his goal, so the way the ball's rolling, it would be quite easy for him to allow the ball to try and roll all the way across him. But I think he knew instantly if that happened, then the defender that was closing in would have had a really good opportunity to slide and either tackle him or block the shot. So if you look at what he does, his first movement is inside. He moves his body inside and he basically blocks the defender off. So the defender can't get to the ball. Now he's made the chance a little bit harder for himself. But what this means is he's basically backed himself to be able to score. And he's taken the defender out of the game. So it's just him versus this keeper in a very tight situation. And he finished phenomenally. So I thought that was a sign of the real skill and quality that Pepe really does have, and what we've been dying to see more consistently.
But that happened because he was playing on the left, and that chance came on his left foot. If he had started on the right way, he's been starting most of the season, don't know if he would have been able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Pepe's looked, every time he has played on the left, and I know it's been quite rare and he's been in and out of the team, but every time he has played on the left, he's looked all right. And I think just because, in my opinion, Pepe struggles a bit when he has too many options and too many possibilities. And when he's out on the left, it's very clear that he can either just go down the wing and cross it, or if he's in a position to take a shot, it's on his strongest foot. And he seems to just thrive a lot better there. And maybe there are more technical reasons for why he's preferred and does better out on the left. But yeah, he looks a completely different player out on the left versus on the right.
Is it that technical? Surely all left-footed players play on the left, and left back, left wing, and right wing, right backs normally predominantly
not necessarily, right?
As in majority, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he loves
cutting in.
Well, when he plays on the right, I mean, he got the goal in the first leg coming off the right, didn't he? Or he was on that side, and that was a very, very good goal. And he loves that move of, obviously it's quite predictable, but he still somehow manages to pull it off. Where he loves that move when he's on the right, cuts on his left, and he bends a shot into the far corner. Often, if he's wide, he will be able to cross it, and in swinger from the left hand side. So I think it's one of these where he's showing that he could probably play on both sides quite effectively. But I think with Pepe, it's probably more a case of consistency. And I think if he gets a consistent run in the team, he's delivering now, isn't he? Really, if you think about the first leg and the second leg, he came on and made a difference. He started today. He was lively. He got the goal, obviously. So, yeah, I think personally, I think he could potentially play off both sides. Gives us good options.
I think his product's definitely improved. I agree. I think he set up the Laka goal as well at the end. I think he picked him up before. Again, normally rush. I think on the right, normally he'll rush it and just like swing it in. Whereas I think this time he might not just because he's on the left, more maybe because he's sort of maturing and improving, that he kept a calm head and he picked out the pass pretty well. So yeah, it's good to that we're seeing a bit more end product from Pepe now. This time of the season.
I think what I like about him now is I think we've all got this narrative in our heads that he's this player that's constantly going to terrorize defenses and boss games. But actually what he seems to be turning into is, he's not, he will go quiet for periods in the game, but he is capable of those big moments where he can deliver one or two moments of brilliance to make a goal or score a goal, sometimes out of nowhere. And actually, I'd much rather a player come on and do one or two brilliant things all game than the Pepe maybe earlier on where he tried to kind of boss a game and actually didn't do so well.
He is really a victim of his price tag, isn't he? Because if you ignore the price tag, then even with his first season and his progression since then, it's not been bad. It's just not been what you expect of a not what you expect of a £70 million player necessarily. And I think it's really maybe comes down to that because he's for his age, he's still got time. He's still got time to get better, and I think we're slowly starting to see the best Nicolas Pepe in an Arsenal shirt right now.
Agreed. Perfect timing, really, coming into the end of the season. So in terms of the other goals in the first half, the penalty, we got a penalty, didn't we? Straight after the first goal, Saka was fouled in the box. Lacazette dispatched as he's been doing quite recently with the penalties that we've been getting. And then the third goal, pretty much, well, probably by this point, the tie's almost killed off, if not killed off, although it's still early days in terms of the 90 minutes. But game's pretty much killed off with the third goal. An absolutely, really, really lovely goal from Saka again. I say again because he's been doing it for us all season. But Chambers does quite well, doesn't he? He plays a nice ball to Saka, and Saka does what I've been saying Pepe likes to do, cuts inside and hits a really good low shot into the sort of near post corner. Keeper doesn't move, doesn't have a chance. And we've basically killed the tie off by, I think it was about the 25th minute, I think it was. We'd scored 3. And we all sat back and chilled, and Raj got his ice cream.
A little pot of Haagen-Dazs. It was very nice. Yeah, 6 minutes of madness. I think, with Saka's goal, one of the things that, fine, it looked a great goal, but the keeper's got to do a lot better there.
What was he doing?
Yeah, I mean, credit to Saka, because Saka almost just saw him. Probably it's almost like Saka looked at him and thought, "Why are you standing there? There's so much space on the near post." Oh my god, that's really funny. A massive fox is literally staring at me from my patio.
Ask him if he wants to join.
It's not the same size as my dog. So that's like a really freaky thing. It's like, I was like, is that my dog? No. Anyway, sorry.
He's waiting for another analogy, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah. Is there a fox in the box goal that I can use? So So anyway, I say the goalkeeper was really badly positioned. And actually, I wondered for a moment whether actually that goalkeeper's still really affected from his injury, because even the first goal, it was a very tight situation where it would have been very easy for him to get blasted in the face, and you felt that he was a little bit non-committal. So I wonder if the keeper was struggling a bit, kind of just struggling generally, because that goal he should have done a lot better with. He kind of seemed a bit all over the place, but credit to Saka. You've got to take the opportunity. You've got to notice that the keeper's in a poor position and then smash it accurately, in the right corner. And it was a great goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, and what I really liked about the third goal, and to a certain extent the second goal as well, was we were on top and we actually thought, right, we're going to go and kill this game off. And we played aggressive attacking football after we went in front. And, I said in the first leg, after the first leg, that maybe the scoreline is a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it's very clear what we have to do is we just turn up here and score goals. And there is no other way we go through this tie. And I think that mentality of, look, we're here, we need to score goals, we need to get off this tie, just helped us, because we kept going forward, we transitioned very quickly, and that was really impressive. How typically in the past we've always struggled to get the ball out of midfield to our front three very quickly, but we did that really impressively, I thought. And when the ball was given to the front three, they were all really clinical in the box, and we took our chances.
Do you think that, because what I found very interesting was that the first 10 minutes weren't like that at all, and we were really slow, really, really slow. And it was almost like there was a switch, and then suddenly everyone just went for it. And I think this season we've been slow towards the beginning of the games, and that's often actually gone into literally the second half as well. It's gone into very late in the game. Do you think that there's anything in that? Do you think that Arteta has, even today, for example, told them, listen, first 10 minutes, just keep it tight, suss the game out, don't go crazy, and then at a certain point, then start being more expressive, energetic? Do you think there's any element of that?
I don't know if there was a deliberate tactical instruction. I think more it was the fact that, probably a bit like us fans, they were probably a bit nervous. They realized that this is our biggest game of the season, and we have it all to play for, and they probably were just let's take it easy and just not mess up and do something stupid. And then I think eventually they realized, we're getting a bit of space here, we're getting the ball in dangerous positions, and the confidence grew from there.
I think part of it is not having Xhaka in the middle, because I think that Xhaka sort of slows the game down a bit too much, especially when we're on the counter-attack. And I think Aaron alluded to about the goals today was very quick. I always notice when we are counter-attacking through him, normally he slows and takes an extra touch, takes 2-3 touches, and the game slows down. And by then, the defense will all be back, and then we sort of lose the advantage that we would have had on a counter-attack. So we've been really poor with counter-attacking all season. And today was, just felt completely different, where it was just quick passing, quick balls, and we actually sort of counter-attacked with intent. And I don't know if that is maybe because Xhaka wasn't in the middle, or
I don't know if it's. I agree. Certainly, we were definitely better at it. I think what it wasn't the fact that Xhaka wasn't there, but the fact that we gave Partey a bit of space. And maybe Xhaka and Partey just like to play in similar sort of spaces. And the fact that Xhaka wasn't there just meant that Partey could boss that space and do what he had to do. And he knew, he didn't really have to worry, am I in the right place? He knows that if I run into the space, it's mine, and I can take the ball and take control of the game. I thought Partey was very good.
Would you not say another attributing factor is the forward plays that we played? If you've got people like Pepe, I know Saka starts every game when he's fit, but ESR as well. And Pepe, very quick, you mentioned the transition, Aaron, and, Pepe on a counter-attack can be devastating, like we saw in the first leg, right, with his goal. And those sorts of players that are happy to pick up the ball, happy to run at players, are happy to try things, it kind of makes not life quite easy, but, it makes that aspect of the game, in the final third, it's a big difference playing someone, and again, I'm not naming his name to criticize him, but a player like Willian, who's more of a possession-based player, who will cut inside, who will, come inside for a pass, for example. Even Aubameyang, to be honest, that's sometimes not necessarily his game. I know he plays as the last defender, but he doesn't offer anything in terms of build-up play. So I think that's definitely a contributing factor. Those three that we played, and they were really impressive today. Again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, how good Smith Rowe. I've always said, like, when you take Smith Rowe off the pitch, we instantly drop a level in terms of how good we look as a team. I know Saka's the one who's been getting all the plaudits, and he's been scoring the goals and kind of doing the big, capable of the big moments. But Smith Rowe just seems to make this whole team tick.
He's such a clever player.
Got Aaron, Martin Keown in disguise there.
No, I'm a big fan of Smith Rowe. I think I agree. Quality as well.
I agree. Yeah. It's interesting that we only had 39% possession today as well. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. Even the first half as well was something ridiculously low as well. Again, some stark contrast to rest of since post December, where we've been keeping a lot of possession but not doing anything with it.
I mean, I guess the second half was very much, we took the foot off the pedal and were happy to let them have the ball, and not really worrying too much about. They didn't really offer anything, did they? This time around.
First in the first half as well.
I saw that. Yeah. But we were 3-0 up by 25 minutes, so obviously.
Yeah.
One other point. All I was going to say, just effective game management, wasn't it, for once? And there you go. But sorry, Nero, go on.
No, so just one point. Because do you know when we had the penalty? I think it went to VAR for a brief moment. I think, didn't it? What would have happened if it was overturned? Because it's a bit frustrating. I'm still trying to understand the rules, because when the penalty was given, I think Pepe was in possession of the ball, and he had he could have done something good with it. If the referee stopped it there, gave a penalty, and it was overturned by VAR, then what would it have been? Would have lost that possession.
Yeah,
which is a bit.
He was about to shoot.
He was about to shoot.
He was supposed to play advantage. He should have played advantage.
So, if that was overturned, then that would have been a massive talking point.
I wasn't even sure it was a clear penalty. I need to see it again, but it wasn't.
There's a bit of contact, but it's not. Yeah, they didn't really shut it. I didn't. Yeah,
so it could have easily been overturned.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't look, but from the look of it, it didn't really look like there was too much debate from their players, and it didn't feel like there was too much debate from, not debate, but it felt like there was just this sense of that was a penalty from everyone, kind of thing. So it might have been that it's just a case that there was enough contact to probably give it. And it's not one of those things that's going to get overturned, because to be overturned, it needs to be an obvious mistake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting because obviously there was the decision later on in the game where Lacazette went down, and that wasn't given as a penalty, and you could argue if that was given, would that have got overturned? I don't know.
Yeah. So it's a very, very good first half from us, obviously, and pretty much the game was comfortable for us from that point on. And you could see that from how the second half kind of played out. Like you said, Nero, Slavia Prague had all of the ball, but did nothing with it. And we were able to actually get a fourth, another really, really nice goal and a really good finish. Yeah, the good work from Pepe down the left. He picked out Lacazette, didn't he? And I think Raju said it. I think it was a good first touch, and he sort of seemed to lose his chance of taking the shot, but then a little bit of skill kind of rolls his foot over the ball and then just hits a very, very good low hard shot with his left foot past keeper. And he's in really, really good form now, isn't he, Lacazette? Considering, I don't know if we spoke about this on the pod or just on WhatsApp, but we were talking about Lacazette generally, and we talk about the bigger picture. What do we do with him at the end of the season and in terms of his contract? But he's delivering now. He's delivering goals. He's delivering performances, and he's really stepped up in the games that he's been playing for us. Aside from the first leg, I guess.
Completely, yeah. And I think that finish, the second goal was what Lacaz's really good at: tight spaces. Almost when there's not that much time. And he has to do something in a very closed environment where it's basically touch, bang. He's quite good at those kinds of goals. And he's done quite a few in his Arsenal career. He's not necessarily the guy that you want, running onto a through ball, sprinting one-on-one on the keeper, although his goal against Sheffield. And so this was just a classic, Lacazette goal, where it did look to me like he had fluffed it. Actually, on the replay, it looked like, it was actually a few good touches, and he put his ball into a really good position for him to just lash it in. So yeah, and really good work from Pepe as well. Like, Nero, you mentioned before, right? Like just really good, sensible, mature basic play, and it was a nice way to round it off because arguably we were all talking right about whether we should have probably taken Lacazette off soon because he's already, even prior to that goal, he's our form striker, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's the first time.
Especially over he's got malaria now. So
yeah. Needing to perform. It's the first time Lacazette scored 2 goals in consecutive games for us, and first time for him since May 17, which it's not a great reading for a striker, but it's good that he's probably picking up the form.
Yeah, I think with Lacazette and this team, it's all about balance. Like you put Lacazette and Aubameyang in the same team, I don't think it works. You put Lacazette up front and you play Willian behind him, I don't think it works. So I think you put those 3, mobile, pacey, players who can run behind him. His role is very well defined, and even earlier with those 3 players, I was a bit critical because I thought he was dropping back, but then he didn't really seem to have the energy to then go up and get in the box as well. But against Sheffield United and today, I thought he actually did really well because not only did he drop back, but he then had the energy to run into the box and create chances there. So, fair play to him. He's doing really well.
Yeah, agreed.
It's big. What a difference like a week makes in terms of Lacazette's performance or Lacazette. Also, we couldn't keep a clean sheet for 14 games before now got 2 in a row, started scoring goals. So however negative we were this time last week,
I'll put it this way. Going forward, right, is one thing, right? But if I told you in our biggest game of the season, we'll be playing Xhaka left back and Callum Chambers right back at the start of the season, what would you guys have thought?
Or even Smith Rowe being your number 10 start of the season, right?
Yeah.
It's impossible to predict this. So much of this season has been just random. I mean, look, if you told me at the beginning of the season that we'd go away to Prague and win 4-0, then I'd say yes. But how we've, the way that we've got there, as you say, it's just not that predictable. And like you guys are saying, I think a lot of the stats are sort of being turned around right now because even with Lacazette, right, there was that stat about how he was never scoring away from home, and this season he scored actually loads away from home. There's lots of things that are getting turned on their head. For me, I think what'll be really interesting is we've played a certain way against Sheffield United. There's a theory that the way that we played against Sheffield United was effectively a dress rehearsal for today's game. But whatever it might be, these 2 games, we scored a bunch of goals and not conceded any. Do we do this going forward?
Yeah, especially we always talk about him rotating the back 4. I think you said maybe it's because we kept the clean sheet last time. It's probably why he kept the same 4. But let's keep it at that. Keep it like that. If he's happy with it, if he's found.
He won't keep Xhaka at left back for long. Surely not.
Not Xhaka, but at least a centre back.
Oh, okay. He's not been tested. He's had nothing to do. I think as soon as he comes up against anyone half decent, he'll get exposed.
Holding or Mari talking about, or both?
I'm talking about Xhaka.
Oh no.
Xhaka at left back.
Oh yeah. No, of course he'll get exposed, but more about the centre backs. I mean,
I don't know.
Gabriel would have jumped. I would have come straight back in. I thought before the game.
I think Arteta's one of those where if he finds something that works, I agree. Right, he's not been tested, and we played against Sheffield United and Prague, and they're not the strongest teams in the world, but. It works. It works well. What's the alternative? It's not like we're resting someone else for these players. The alternative there is Cedric, who, in my opinion, hasn't looked great at left back, and Xhaka gives us a lot of balance there. And with Gabriel, he has looked very ropey and very error prone, and I think Marie has been the better centre back in the last couple of months. So. There's an argument to say this is our strongest defense. More
because Xhaka and having Xhaka and Holding, Chambers as well, that gives them a bit more flexibility, so they can easily move 3 into the back and move.
But if we go into the Villarreal game, for example, because in terms of the league, it's hard to predict now how he's going to play that. But in the Europa League, do you think he? I guess I'm looking at it from this perspective as well, where you've got Dani Ceballos. Okay, he's had a couple of decent games in the last 2 games that he started, but would you not want Xhaka in central midfield partnering Thomas Partey?
Well, I
as
think
opposed to
Based on
Ceballos
what I've seen,
coming up
based
against
on
a
what I've
better
seen in the
team.
last 2 games, no,
What?
not like
What?
I know
Why?
it's
Because
a very
what,
small
Ceballos?
sample size, and the 2 teams are there. But I think we've undoubtedly played our best football, scored the most goals, looked reasonably stable defensively. Playing Xhaka at left back, playing Partey and Ceballos in midfield.
When you say looking stable
I-
defensively, though, like what have they had? What have that back four really had to do in the last 2 games?
Yeah, but
No,
Like,
that's
not
fine.
stably, but in terms of what we were talking about before, if not having Xhaka there, that gives Partey a bit more freedom to express himself a bit more, then surely that's better for the team.
I don't think it's as simple a question as being like, is Xhaka, for example, a better left back than Cedric, or is Xhaka a better central midfielder, in our team than Ceballos is? Because if you look at it, it's more of a question of what system do we actually want to play? Because when Xhaka is playing in this left back role, it's not as a traditional left back. He's not getting down the left hand side. He's not crossing the ball in the final third. It's a completely different tactic.
Yeah,
And
100%.
so it's more of a question, I think,
True.
of if Arteta looks at it and goes, I want to play this tactic, whatever this tactic is, which is kind of hard to figure out, whatever it is, if I want to do that, then Xhaka's the right person in that position. But if he wants to go back to having a more traditional left back, then Xhaka isn't a more traditional left back.
I mean,
Yeah,
But if Tierney's but if Tierney is fit, there's no way he's gonna not play Tierney.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So,
of course.
so that's
I think we're assuming Tierney's out. Right? Let's
Yeah.
assume Tierney's out for the season, or
yeah.
pretty
But
much.
what I
yeah.
mean is for Xhaka, I mean, like if Tierney's there, he'll never play this system again.
No,
That makes
but
sense. Yeah.
but then do you not think? I mean, it's funny because the remaining games we've got this season in the league, I say straightforward. They're not straightforward, but on paper they're decent games. Apart from I think it's Chelsea, and obviously it's all about the Europa League as we keep saying. But even if he's playing Xhaka in a left back role where he doesn't need to cross the halfway line, pretty much, and he's going to sit. Despite that, as soon as we come up against a team, I don't know who plays on the right for Villarreal. I don't know if he's any good or if he's rubbish, but let's assume they've got a half decent right forward, right winger, right midfielder, whatever. I mean, as a left back, you need to have at least a little bit of a turn of pace. You need to have, a ability to, if a ball goes past you, need to be able to turn around, sprint back to cover. He's not got that, and he's just going to get exposed. There's absolutely no way. And this is what I'm saying. I don't know the Villarreal team. I don't know who they play on the right hand side, so I wouldn't be able to say if Xhaka's going to start that tie, the first leg on the at left back or not. But let's assume they've got someone half decent in that position. There's absolutely no way. I can't see Arteta. He's tested it against Sheffield United, probably with a view to playing Xhaka in this position that he did today, in the same position that he did tonight. But I think then when you revert back to, like, if we had a few other teams coming up in the league and the league still kind of mattered, if we had some half decent teams coming up and it wasn't Fulham at the weekend, then I think I don't see how you can play Xhaka in that position. He could get exposed so easily.
I overall agree.
It's a risk.
Go on, Aaron.
No, I was gonna say it's a risk, and like I can see your logic. I think the reason why I say we might as well go for it is, we've looked good in this system, and I think when we've found something that at least to me looks very balanced in terms of not just Xhaka at left back, but the whole setup of playing Lacazette, the 3 players behind him, playing Partey and Ceballos in midfield with Chambers at right back. This looks very balanced to me. It looks nice. It looks like we're creating chances whilst giving us defensive stability. And the fact that there isn't a real strong alternative. If Tierney was back, I'd say play him because it's worth it, right? But the alternative here is maybe playing Xhaka in midfield, playing Cedric at left back. And I think, is that really going to give you so much more defensive stability?
Well,
for what you're taking away?
I agree with everything you said about who plays ahead of him or in the other positions and the setup that we've gone for. It all looks really, really good and it's working. I think you also have to take into account the opposition that we've had the last 2 games.
But Mike,
yeah.
all season though, like we've struggled against average teams worse than the teams we've played in the last 2 games. This season we haven't really done.
Well, but Sheffield United are the worst team in the league.
Yeah, not really since Christmas. Like, there's been the odd kind of bad performance and stuff, but generally it's been, as we keep saying, right, it's been a bit better. And I think the other thing to kind of keep in mind is what happens when, like, you got Nicolas Pepe on the left today, right? Nicolas Pepe, he's all right tracking back, but you wouldn't say it's one of his strengths. You wouldn't say it's one of his strengths to cover or whatever. And you don't really want Nicolas Pepe in your own half. You want him down the other end. But if there's a situation where we play against a half decent team and they go 2-on-1 versus Xhaka, they double up on Xhaka and they just start playing triangles around him, he's got no chance. Like, he's just gonna, and that's when you set this.
Well, so that's what Aaron's point is, right? Is Cedric gonna?
Well, he's a better defender, isn't he? Yeah, he's a better defender, right? Like,
he's better, but
I know he's not. It doesn't work with Cedric. It doesn't work with Cedric as a left back because he's right-footed. That's the the issue that we saw. But I think it depends on who we're playing against. Really, I think it depends on the opposition more than anything. I think it's easy to say it worked. It did work in the last couple of games, but you have to take into account who we played against.
What I do find interesting about it is, because I think it's right. Like, we can easily say that the caliber of what Xhaka would have had to face on the right hand side is not like great over the last couple of games. But what I do find interesting is he wasn't really tested at all. And what I mean by that is, I wonder if actually the system that we have put in place in some way actually affords a lot of protection to him, in that he's never, ever really, I can't remember a time over the last 2 games where it's been a case where he has been up against the winger and, it just so happens that he's good enough to deal with this winger because they're not that good. It's always felt like actually structurally we've kind of been set up in a sort of way which doesn't expose him. So if that is the case, then you would argue that, well, it doesn't matter. Even if we played against a team with better wingers, like, he still wouldn't be exposed if we did this the right way. Like, I don't know. I'm hypothesizing.
Not just Xhaka, actually, but I think Arteta's, one of the noticeable improvements that Arteta has made is that our defense as a whole looks far less exposed versus the Wenger era and the Emery era, where there were times where, like, attackers and strikers and wingers would just run out our defense for fun. That very rarely happens nowadays. Whoever's playing in our back four, because the system seems to protect our back four considerably more than the older managers.
It's an interesting one because there's obviously no right answer here, because we know that I think we can all accept that Cedric is a better makeshift left back than Xhaka is, right? We can still accept that. But at the same time, I guess the argument is that we know that we still concede goals when we play him. So it's like, it's a very difficult situation. I don't think we'll ever have a clear answer. I wonder if Arteta might just look at it now and go, do you know what? This seems to work, and let me just go with it.
Until it goes wrong, I think he might stick with it. Let's just hope it doesn't go wrong against Villarreal. That's what he
exactly. I was
going to
say. Yeah, you can't afford for it to go wrong.
I'd rather go wrong in the Premiership game before that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. Okay, so we're through to the semi-finals. We're going to be facing Villarreal, facing Unai Emery, which will be, hopefully, will be nice. I was looking at their sort of position in the league and their recent results. So I think they're 7th in the league. So they're doing okay. They've got a guy who's, I don't know if you guys know much about Villarreal. I didn't really before we went through tonight, but they've got a guy who I believe is their top scorer in La Liga, Gerard Moreno. Did he score tonight as well?
I don't know who scored for Villarreal tonight.
I think I saw his name pop up. He's got
he did.
25 goals this season, I think it is. He's only 3 behind Messi.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because, do you guys remember that Emery interview? Do you remember that Emery interview where he basically talked about, I think he was being criticised for something, and he said, listen, like, the teams I manage, I always tend to have the top scorer in the league. And he was basically alluding to how he sets his teams up is always trying to get the best out of his best attacking player. And like, that's how they structure. And so his argument was like, again, when he had Aubameyang, I think Aubameyang won the Golden Boot in Emery's like full season. And so this is very interesting, seeing the success of this other guy. So, clearly that is an Emery thing. He's like, builds a system to get the best out of his main goal threat.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, that's settled then.
Yeah, and look, we've literally just got through, right? So obviously, none of us have really had a chance to have a look at Villarreal in any kind of great detail or analysis, and obviously that will happen over the next couple of weeks as we build up to that game. But I guess just initial thoughts, guys. Really, they're obviously a decent side, but my kind of initial thoughts going into this game are they're seventh in the league. They're not third, fourth, fifth, and while they might have a guy who scored 25 goals, I still feel like we have on paper, if we turn up, we have the players, the system now, the threat, the dangerous players like Xhaka, Smith Rowe, Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette, you can reel the names off now where players are all contributing and we're now winning games more than we were at the start of the season. And I just feel like it's a tie that we should go through. What do you guys think? Just initial thoughts, really.
I mean, if you look at the other semi-finalists, right? Villarreal, Roma, Man United. Villarreal is the one you want, I assume. I mean, I know Roma aren't exactly flying either, but I think Villarreal, like you said, finds a 7th, you said, or something.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad draw. I know we aren't exactly flying at times in the league, and if someone looked at our position in the league, they'll be like, well, hey, we're playing like the 10th best team in England right now, right? So I'll be very, very annoyed if we don't win it. The tie, that is, not that tournament. Yeah.
I think their biggest threat is going to be Emery, because we can't ignore two things. One,
we're going to play him up front.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Late registration, maybe. We can't ignore his
we'll bring on Arteta, mate. It's all good.
Yeah. He could probably still play, for sure.
I bet he can.
He could probably do a better job than Xhaka, mate, in midfield.
Xhaka's been excellent this season.
It's a bit harsh. I was going to say, yeah.
Hero's been
the odd mistake. You'll do a better job than Willian for sure.
I'm starting to like Pepe now, so I need to take my frustration out on a new player.
I was just saying that Emery's pedigree in the competition can't be ignored, and that's one thing. And I don't think that's just a mental thing. I think that there is something about knowing how to win a competition like this. For the caliber of teams that tend to play in this competition and navigating that, he can do it better than anyone else. That's
why do you think that is?
For when he managed us.
Yeah, do you think Emery just wakes up and it's like, right, Europa League today, I'm going to take this one a bit seriously?
No, I think part of it is, as I said, I think it's the caliber of teams that you're up against generally. And I think that there is probably a way that tactically you can probably... There's probably a tactic that probably tends to work against teams of that don't necessarily have the elite ability of Champions League sides. And clearly he's a fairly functional manager. I always felt that approaching games, he was quite good at in-game management and things like that. So I think there's a combination of a couple of things. And yeah, I think to a certain extent, there probably is a bit of a mental thing that comes with being able to do it. And your teammate, your players probably look at it and think, "Oh, our manager knows what he's doing, so I'll listen to him and I'll believe in the tactic and execute against that." But the other reason that I think that he is their biggest threat is he knows us really well. He's literally been our manager so recently. He gave debuts to a number of our players, right? He brought through Saka, and a lot of these players are players that he's going to know intrinsically well. Could remember the presentation he allegedly gave to get the job in the first place. I know a lot of those players have gone, but my point is, he'll know us, and he'll prepare them well.
It's a good point, right? So you go back to what Myers said about Xhaka at left back, right? Emery will 100. If Xhaka is playing left back, Emery will 100% get whoever is playing on the right wing and be like, just run at him. Yeah. He will eventually foul you or do something stupid, or just try and wind him up, and he might, get sent off in the 25th minute.
It's a big advantage, isn't it? It's a big advantage. He knows the ins and outs. He knows a lot of the players. Yeah. So didn't really think of that immediately, but it's the obvious thing, isn't it? That little advantage they've got. Okay, well, we've got a couple of weeks until that game, I guess. So it's nice that our season isn't over. And we've got another couple of games, and hopefully we can get through that and make it to another Europa League final. How massive would that be? Before we even think about the Villarreal game, which is a couple of weeks away, we've obviously still got the league games to contend with. So Fulham away, is it away on Sunday?
I think we're at home, are we?
Are
We're
we
at home. Yeah, we won away
yeah.
first game of the season.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. So
That was the William show, wasn't
William, yeah, mate.
and he's
Bring it
not
back.
shown up since. Okay, guys, we'll just thoughts on the game, really. How do you think Arteta's going to play this one again? He's got to be wary of, the guys that are maybe carrying niggles and in the red zone, as it were, people like Saka, ESR, who have just come back, came back today from, well, not Saka, sorry, ESR did, from injuries. Do you think he's going to change the team up quite a bit?
No, I said what I would like is, like, considering who we're playing, it's a good chance to rest like Saka and Smith Rowe and give people like Reece Nelson a go. We're good to sort of.
Nelson, you think?
Do you think he'll do that though? Yeah,
like November.
No, I don't think he will.
You would like him to.
I would like him to just try out a few players who have been a bit haven't had much game time lately. I think Fulham at home is probably the perfect game to be just trying something. Try out players who haven't played for a while before. Give Balogun more minutes. Play Martinelli. Just
Do you think Arteta is looking at the league games and looking at the running that we have, as I think I mentioned? It's a decent run in. Well, I think we've got Chelsea in there, but otherwise it's not bad. Do you think he's looking at the league and thinking there's a chance we could get top 6, top 7? I mean, we're still points wise, it's a big gap, and there's obviously a number of teams between us and say 6. But do you think, basically, I guess the question I'm asking is, do you think that although he's obviously going to prioritize the Europa League, do you still think he will he will consider the league games almost as important until we just, it's just never, it's not going to happen. There's very little chance that we're going to get any higher than sort of 8th, 9th.
Let's go on.
Yeah, I think he'll go for it. And I think until it becomes, put it this way, if it's like the schedule is actually quite kind, right? So we've got Fulham on Sunday, and then we actually play Everton on the Friday afterwards, and then we don't have a game until the first leg of the semi-final. So it's reasonably okay. It's not like where we have to rest or rotate beforehand. So actually, I think you've got these 2 games, and on Sunday, assuming no one has any major fitness concerns, if Smith Rowe is doubtful, then don't play him, or Saka's doubtful, don't play him. I think it'll be as close to a first team as possible.
But he'll never, I think, until the end of the season, he shouldn't risk anyone unnecessarily.
No, I don't think you take a risk, but
he doesn't need to risk anyone. Exactly.
No
I think
risk.
It's more that it's fit. If they're fit, they'll play. I don't think he's going to use the Premier League games to play people into form. I think he'll keep trying to play what he thinks is his best side, and he's going to be playing Fulham, who have lost 4 games in a row, like at home. And I hope what he's going to do, I imagine what he will do is play this setup against Fulham. I think he'll go out and go, just go do this against Fulham, and let's see what happens. And the lineup will just to be dependent about who's feeling fit and all that. And like you say, Aaron, because we've got that gap, we've got that gap to Everton, and then there's a decent gap to the Europa League game. There's an argument to say actually you want to keep your players playing and fit. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's get predictions, guys, for the game on Sunday. Nero, what do you think? How do you think it's going to go?
I'll say 2-0 Arsenal.
Confident, Raj?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-1. I think there'll be an element of hangover there, actually. But Fulham Fulham aren't good. 4 losses in a row. 4 losses in a row. They're in the relegation zone. I mean, how many points are they off Newcastle?
6 off Newcastle. I haven't played a game more.
Newcastle. Exactly. Like
I thought Fulham would turn it around, but they seem to have gotten worse. So
they don't score enough goals. Like, basically, do they? They just don't score any goals.
They don't score goals, but you still don't trust us to keep a clean sheet against them.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. That's us. That's not faith in us. That's us. Yeah,
It'll be an own goal, mate.
Yeah, it'll be something like that, isn't it? Like, so.
Xhaka at left back.
I just hope. And I know we've got to go to Aaron's prediction and your prediction, but I just hope we don't just go, oh, let's do second gear and let's just jog this one out. Like, let's hope we properly play.
Yeah. Go on now. Okay.
I will go 1-0 to the Arsenal.
So
I think it will be a bit of a hangover. But I think we'll edge it. We'll get a penalty or something like that, and it will be a not very fun but productive win.
Productive. I like it. Productive.
We'll leave with 3 points.
Might get 4 points.
You reckon? First goal of the season for Willian, you reckon, Aaron?
Oh, wow.
Has he not scored this season?
The guy's done. He's had like 2 shots on target all season. Right.
He's a chance creator, mate.
No, he's a chance creator, yeah, whatever.
Is it whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, that counts, right? Yeah. All right. I guess I'll go. I think, I kind of agree with you guys. I think we'll win. Maybe a slight hangover. I'd go 2-1. Can't really see us keeping 3 clean sheets in a row. I'll go 2-1. All right, guys. Again, lovely chat. Good to speak. So we'll be seeing everyone again next episode following the Fulham game. But in the meantime, cheers for that and see you next time. Nice one, boys.
See ya. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.